Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
When you're greeted like that, how can you not have a good morning? All right, guys, today's video, we're going to be doing some routine maintenance trimming. We've got 4 different trims, and I'll be offering up some information along the way. I often get asked why I don't wash the feet before I trim them, and I'm wondering to myself if that's not because of this contrast you see in color here from the one claw to this other claw before I start trimming it. That dark color actually is not debris or filth or anything like that. It's actually staining. That's why the colors are different. I could scrub that foot all I wanted and it would still be dark. I'm not sure if that's what people are referring to or not, but if it is, the staining would not go away. To address any of the other issues, the reason we don't is because obviously I'm using power tools right now. You can see that. Water getting sprayed on power tools and on my hands would not be a good thing. 1, because I'm using electricity, but 2, because with all these moving parts and knives that I use, that would be dangerous for both myself and for the animal I'm working on. Most cases, as long as the feet are dry, I can see everything I need to see. With one swipe of the grinder, cleans that foot up beautifully, much more than I could with water. If you look toward the tips of this cow's toes, you'll see she's got 2 markings, 1 on each toe. I'm not really sure what caused this, but at some point she had some injury that damaged both toes in exactly the same fashion. Now, as you can see, I'm going to be able to remove both of those with my grinder as I trim this away. So this injury obviously happened a couple months ago, but I just find it interesting. You see some things, and even after all these years of trimming, that I really can't explain. I've been playing with some different camera angles lately to try to give you guys some different perspectives on how the trimming looks from different angles. I kind of like this one myself. The only problem is as you can see, those shavings come flying right at the camera and it dings it up. So this is one I can't use very often, but I like the angle it gives you. Whenever I'm trimming a foot, there's 3 things that I'm trying to accomplish. The first is I'm trying to balance the weight between the 2 claws. The second thing I'm trying to accomplish is creating a uniform sole thickness in each claw, lengthwise and across the claw. That way that foot will strike the ground properly and create proper angles inside the foot for the pedal bone. The third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the toes up. All of these things combined will create a better foot angle and will allow for proper foot strike on the ground, which will limit wear. It will also create all the right angles to avoid ulcerations and white line disease. In this next foot, something interesting is going to happen. I want you to take note of the thickness of that inside claw before I start trimming. Not too far in, we can see that there's some hemorrhaging present. Sometimes this can lead to an ulcer, but something interesting happens here. Even though that claw was very overgrown compared to the other one, the further and further I go in, look what happens. That ulceration goes away. A lot of times, hoof trimmers will blame an overgrown claw for the cause of ulcerations, when in actuality, it's just a symptom. As that hemorrhaging begins to happen, that inside claw is being triggered to produce more horn to combat that. And in consequence, this foot actually was able to heal itself. That extra horn growth made that hemorrhaging go away. And that's one of the things I'll talk about later on in other videos about why I don't model, is this theory that the added heel depth is what causes ulcers, and I just don't think that's the case. And what we've seen with cows over and over and over again over the years is that a lot of times that overgrowth, what appears to be overgrowth to us, is a way for these cows to combat these issues. And sometimes, like in this case, successfully. Actually, in many cases, it's successful. Occasionally, it isn't, and that's when we see those ulcerations happen, and that's where we have to intervene. But it's just an interesting thing that I've seen thousands of times throughout my career. Another question that I'm frequently asked is why I don't trim the tops of the hooves near the heel area. And the reason is that area of the foot is a different material altogether. It's not actually heel horn like I'm trimming right now. It's more of a skin-like material. It's the area underneath that is full of blood vessels and things like that. It's not an area that I want to start cutting into. And the reason that that I personally don't deal with that much is because any problems that could be in the heel bulb originate in the sole first. So let's say I have an abscess. It may track up through the heel bulb, but I'll have evidence of that in the sole that will guide me there. The only real problem that we have to deal with in the heel bulb area is heel horn erosion caused by manure and things like that. If it's real deep ridges that's holding a lot of debris, I will cut some of that out. In this case, it's not, so I'm just going to leave it be. Because it's Tuesday, I'm going to leave you with a little tongue out Tuesday action from 6829. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.